Hi, Emmanuel. You can go ahead and start.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We're here to give you a presentation that has been consolidated by myself, Emmanuel, Brenda, Tamanda, and Francis. This presentation will cover. Next slide, please, Francis. So the presentation will cover the significance of financial performance analysis, as well as the profile of the company under study. And through that, we'll take you through the analysis that has been done using some ratios under profitability, liquidity, gearing. And then in the end, we'll give you recommendations as well as conclusions of the study. Next slide, please. So, financial performance analysis is a process that identifies a company financial performance, looking into the business financial records, processes, as well as statements. So, it simply supports owners of businesses or other interested parties to be able to make informed decisions for their, survival. So the presentation that will give to you will give you an overview of the financial health of TNM, which is a telecom network company, where we'll focus on the performance metrics, comparing them to other standards as well of other companies in the industry. Next slide, Francis. So, in brief, like I mentioned earlier, the significance of this financial performance analysis is simply like to assist decision makers to identify areas that need improvement after assessing the financial health of the business, and also to assist the decision makers to come up with well-informed decisions. Now, to take you into details from here, I'll pass on to my colleague Tamanda, who is going to give you an introduction of the film under study. Thank you so much. Tamand. You're on mute, Tamanda.
As you have heard that from Emmanuel that we are studying TNM. TNM is a leading provider of mobile internet and telecommunication services in Malawi. It operates Mpamba Limited, a digital financial services company that specializes in mobile money. TNM also offers a range of services, including funds transfer, back payments, and bill payments. The company has a coverage of 88% in the country's geographical area. Telecommunications Network Malawi PLC is listed on the Malawi Stock Exchange, and you can see the TNM shareholders as below. Next. Okay, so in this presentation, we have reviewed the TNM and Airtel's 2023 and 2023 annual financial reports, including the financial statements, notes to the accounts, executive management comments, and the management commentary section. So the main PLC that we are focusing on is TNM, but for the sake of analysis, in the next slides we have also reviewed Airtel, which is a competitor that also provides telecommunication networks. Financial statements contain a wealth of information about a company's financial health and performance. Despite the richness of information in financial statements, extracting and interpreting this data can be challenging and time-consuming, especially for non-accountants. Hence, the need for financial metrics and analysis to convert raw financial data into meaningful insights. So the measurement tool that we have used in our analysis is ratio analysis. I'll hand over to Brenda to continue.
Okay, thank you, Tama. You are with me, Brenda Nachuma, and I'm going to take you through the ratio analysis. The first ratio analysis that we're going to look into is the profitability ratio. Now, when you're talking about profitability, we're simply trying to see the ability of a business to retain or to generate returns. Now, you'd agree with me that for every company, the measurement of success is on profits that they have made. But before we look into the ratios, we are going to see the variables from profit and loss of the TNM company. The first variable is operating expense. And when you're talking about operating expense, we're simply trying to see how much it costed the TNM to produce the product that it's making and to put it on the market. Now, for TNM, operating expense grew with the 15% in 2023. And this is due to the increased staff costs and allowances, which was attributed by the high inflation rate and the as well devaluation. So you all remember that in 2023, Malawi had a 44% devaluation. Another variable is the sales or the turnover. And the TNM sales grew by 15% as well. And this has been increased due to the data, Mpamba fees and commission, enterprise business services, and prepared. So if I'm to check, from the people that are here, you'd see that most of people do not have cash at hand. Rather, they have money at bank or mobile wallet. So due to the increase in usage for mobile wallet, TNM also increased their sales due to the transaction that people are doing. And also that most of the companies in Malawi, they subscribe to TNM services. So this has also contributed to TNM sales increase. Moving on to ratios for under profitability, we first look into a net gross margin. When we're talking about net gross margin, we're simply trying to look into how much, the profit that TNM made after deducting all the expenses or all costs. Now, in our case, it's a different case because TNM incurred a loss, which increased by 180 from last year, 2022. And the losses have been attributed to the increase in operating expenses, as we had already discussed, and the economic challenges. You'd see that in Malawi, we're having forex challenges. And because TNM is an international trader, they are failing to get forex to pay their dues. Moving on from the net profit margin, we also looked into loss, which is a return on capital employed. Next slide. Now, looking into return on capital employed, we're simply trying to measure the profitability and efficiency of the business. In case of TNM, I would see that their loss increased with the about 80%. 8%, not 80, sorry. But mind you that when you're talking about loss, it's good to always compare with your competitors on the market. Because within yourself, you might see that I'm making progress because my loss or my efficiency is increasing. But when you look at your colleagues outside your market, within your market, you see that maybe they're doing better or maybe they're not doing good. So when you are looking into loss, it's good that you should see into your competitors. How are they being efficient? Now, as I've said, TNM has been efficient comparing from last year to this year. However, if I were to look at Airtel, you see that Airtel increased its loss to 85%. That there is a huge difference here. We are looking at 18 and 85. So Airtel has been more efficient than TNM. It means TNM should look into issues that they can be efficient, unlike how they are performing at the moment. Moving on to another ratio, we also look into liquidity ratio. And when we're talking about liquidity ratio, next slide. When we are looking into talking about liquidity, we're simply trying to see the ability of the business to meet its short-term obligations. Looking at the liquidity ratios, quick and current, you'd see that TNM is below the minimum standard of 1, and they have an average of 0.6 to 1 ratio. What it means is that for every 1 kwacha that TNM owes, it can only manage to pay 60 tambala. And this is not a good thing, because at the end of the day, their debtors might say, no, well, we cannot do business with TNM because they'll fail to pay us back our loan. Another ratio we also looked into is efficiency ratio. And when you're talking about efficiency ratio, we are simply trying to say, how long does it take for TNM maybe to say, to receive their payments from their creditors? In case of, for example, we have a receivables. And when we look at this, at receivables for TNM, in 2023, it took them almost 69 days for people to pay their money to TNM. However, it took 229 days for TNM to pay out to their debtors. So in case of TNM, this is how much we have gone into. So another ratio, gearing ratio, will be looked into by my friend Francis. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda, and my two colleagues who came before me. So from this slide, I'll take you through the other ratio the team looked into, which is gearing, or in other way around, it's a ratio measures a company's capital financed by debt relative to equity. Another way around is a ratio that measures how much company's operations are funded by equity, which is shareholders' equity. This is maybe the resources taken outside the business. So it assesses the level that the company is using broad funds to finance its operations. So in the case of TNM, we noted that the gearing ratio is high because the net worth is low owing to size of business, with debt to equity ratio at 2.21 in 2022 and then 2.89 in 2023. This difference indicates a 30% increase in the reliance on the foreign resources to run the day-to-day operation of the business. So another way around, every 1 quarter the TNM owes, there's 2.1 tambara that was resources provided from outside in terms of the loans. And for every 1 quarter that TNM owned in 2023, 2.9 tambara was something that was coming from the debtors. So TNM is more, looking at this ratio, TNM is more dependent on funding from the outside the business and potentially less stable if we encounter a problem with trading and other factors related to our operations. As a group of 4 students, we thought if maybe TNM management maybe can try to do the following things in order to turn around things. 1, to increase their distribution networks to increase sales. We think this can help to boost their profit. Secondly, we are recommending if maybe the TNM should suspend all non-revenue generating capital expenditure to improve on liquidity. Bear in mind that there are some activities that may be burning some resources, but rather they're not bringing any returns by the end of the day to the company. For instance, TNM doing any if maybe TNM was doing any corporate social responsibility in 2023, was recommendable. The other way around, we think maybe debt restructuring by negotiating with the creditors for new payment plans. If maybe the agreement was to pay every 6 months or maybe every year, but now they can try to negotiate, okay, we'll be paying maybe every 2 years, but maybe at a less amount. So maybe they agree also in terms. We also think if maybe the TNM can do cost restructuring to reduce staff cost and allowances. We saw this in a report from 2023. The new CEO was working on restructuring, possibly to cut some costs from their staff. Another point, management should consider optimizing its infrastructure utilization by renting out surplus assets such as offices and network infrastructure, like maybe the towers, whereby we are looking at if maybe TNM has, for instance, Wasan towers across the country. They can try maybe to do cost sharing with other companies within the sector. Maybe if for instance, Airtel and TNM can share 1 tower, and then off maybe they minimize the cost of maintaining the whole tower. Or look at the fuel, the licenses, even the security teams are on the ground. Conclusion, despite revenue growth, TNM faces significant financial challenges, as we have seen from the introductory slide, whereby the first half of 2023, there was a remarkable growth in terms of the finances. Malawi underwent a transformative phase aimed at positioning business for future growth, accompanied by the structuring which started well and paid dividends, followed by increased revenue from mobile money, as my colleagues stated, and then usage of data from 29% and 19% respectively. That is 2022 and 2023. That is the first half of the year. But again, we saw that for the 44% devaluation contributed to the company's poor performance, which affected its operations for the year. So that's all we had for you. Thank you, and over.
Thanks, team. So now I'm
Over
going
to
to
you,
open
Chair.
it for questions from the rest of the members. Please raise your hand if you want to come in. Yes, Doreen, you can come in.
Thank you. So I have one question. Maybe what changes should TNM incorporate in their strategic plan for the next 5 years to turn around things?
Who is going to take that one from the presenting group?
Okay, I can take that. Sorry, we thought maybe if there's two questions, they can maybe try to ask at a go then, unless maybe this is the one question. But I would take that one. As a team, we thought of maybe a couple of ways. Of course, it's not a comprehensive, but that we thought would maybe improve is one for the company to improve its network infrastructure, looking at service delivery and then access to a big audience, so that maybe they match maybe their competitors. We also, as we said before in our presentation, is to try to cut some cost in terms of the infrastructure, one by maybe cost sharing on the towers and offices, looking into account that CNM is a public limited company, whereby out of government offices, maybe they're running idle, they can do sharing of space and then maybe cut some cost on the rentals. The other part, we thought if maybe they can try to utilize more of agents the way maybe Airtel does, whereby they have less few and permanent staff to do some business, but rather they utilize on the agents, which maybe helps them to cut some cost. You know, the cost of hiring maybe one engineer or one officer is quite huge. You look at all the benefits, the salaries. Like maybe if you utilize agents, you may pay them less. Of course, not in a way to exploit them and then fraud the labor laws, but in a way that maybe takes into consideration all these factors. Thank you.
Thanks, Francis. I think that answer was clear. Doreen, was that good?
Yes, it was quite good. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw a hand from Madifale. Do you want to come in with another question?
Yeah, the presentation has used both quick and current ratio, which almost measure the very same thing. So I would like to understand, why did the presenters use both of these ratios? Thank you.
I think I can attempt that one. Yes, it's true that both the peak and the current ratio, they look at one thing, but then a peak ratio is more like big glass than a current ratio. So what we want to assess is the ability, is the business able to pay its loans if people have stopped buying from them? Because in quick ratio, you see that we take out stocks. Now, if people are no longer buying from us, are we going to be able to pay out our loans, our debts? So that's why we did both. Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda. I think that is clear. I hope that answers your question, Matfal. Thank you. If there are no more questions from anyone, thanks to the team. I think we're past the 20 minutes mark now. So well done and thanks, everyone.